Are we going? I'm ready. Yep, Film Bump. Welcome everyone to the Film Bump. That's Anderson. I'm Bryan Bishop. Here for top 5 time. Guessing, bringing us the top 5 in studio, live and in person. Oh my God, this chocolate's making me drool. Florence Bremmer. How are you, Florence?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Good to see you. Thank you for bringing us the top 5. Can you explain where this came from? I have a sense that it came from your love of horror films.
Yes, it did. So the top 5 is horror movie locations. And I'm sorry, I got dry all of a sudden.
Oh, please. I'm eating chocolate on my...
And a few weeks ago, I was watching something, and I realized how important the setting of a horror movie was, how it really makes the movie. Whenever you watch, this is not horror, but whenever you watch Sex and the City, they always say New York is the 5th character.
I've heard that.
In a horror movie locations, the location helps build terror, invokes dread, draws you in. And for the top 5, it's really whatever you want. It can be the setting for the whole movie. It can be a setting for a scene. It can be the city that it takes place in. Whatever builds the terror for you and draws you in, that's what your top 5 horror movie locales are. And I just sat down and wrote them down and then came up with a ton of also-rans. It was so easy because I just kept thinking about like how important these locations were to me. That's how I came up with it.
The opposite is true for me. I labored over this list for a long time. And eventually I uncovered a fun twist to the list. Do you want to know my twist?
I do.
What would the twist be?
Well, these are all very good locations. Each one of them I've actually been to. How about that?
There's a couple I've been to too.
I didn't mean to stun you so as to eliminate all response.
You look very happy about it.
I'm very pleased with myself.
Yeah? Now,
That's good. That's fine.
Not so pleased. I cracked open a cheap $30 bottle of wine.
Brian, that's from the other episode. All right, stop. Did it influence your list though? Like, did you like? Oh, I'd like to put that one on there because it's more. It's more appropriate, but I haven't been there, so.
Oh, I left off many iconic locations. Of course.
Can you talk into the microphone?
Because I had not been there. However, I was doing research. I was assembling the list, and I was like, "Oh, I've been to this one. I've actually been to that one too."
Jesus.
I was like, "Oh, I can do a whole top 5 of ones."
Well,
I've
no
been
one
to.
cares. The listeners do
You
not give
care.
a flying fuck if you have stepped foot terra firma.
I'll tell fun anecdotes.
Will you? Okay, great.
Well,
we'll
I'll
see
tell
how this goes.
anecdotes.
Let's get to it. You want
Whether or not they're fun, who knows?
You want to
You alluded to some, maybe you did this wrong. What did you mean by that?
Oh, like on the last episode? Because Florence just let me off the hook. She's like, it can be whatever you want to be. So when I have my number 1, which is going to be New York from Sex and the City, she'll say, that's fine.
It can be whatever you want to
It
be.
can be whatever you want it to be. Right?
Clever.
Yeah, very clever. No, I was afraid she was going to kind of lean into just scenes only, right?
No,
we should
not
say
at
this
all.
is Florence's official pick, too. Like, she is one of the deciders, and
That's right.
it's nice that when we can line it up so that she can actually be on the show as an official co-host, because quite honestly, I wish
season here in October.
I wish you were on more often than you are.
Oh, thank you.
I would
That's
like you to
very
be on
nice.
at least like once.
I think that too.
We need more. We need more Florence on the show. We do, and I'm not just saying that because I believe it. I'm speaking for the listeners too, because they all love their Florence.
Yes, but much more beloved universally than you and I.
It's true.
True.
Listeners have been so kind to me. I'm obviously not any kind of broadcaster, and they are so sweet to
Hasn't
me.
stopped me from hosting the show for 20 years.
Her podcast is like it's just like light and fluffy and filled with like horrific things because she loves horror.
Sure.
But it goes down so smooth, and she's just you're such a. I almost want to bring your daughter on. Her daughter's in here, Maggie, and I want to know if when Florence goes dark, if she goes really dark. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, I got a feeling like if you go dark, because you're just so nice and happy all the time, there's got to be a dark side.
Maybe that's your outlet for a dark side.
Or is like the
I'm
horror.
turning and looking at her. What do you think,
Because
honey?
she doesn't have a.
No.
Now, what? Now, okay, I couldn't see your face when you asked her that question. You turned full 180 away from me.
Yeah, I gave her a glaring
So what kind of a
look.
look did you give her? Like
I smiled at her.
Yeah.
The
What does
look
that
is,
smile mean?
You're going in the dark room. Before
You
get
know what I
home.
think it might be is that her love of horror, which doesn't really add up from what we know about Florence. Like if I had to guess, she was like Christmas Lifetime movies, right?
But she's so nice in real life that it makes perfect sense that she'd be into horror in her entertainment life.
Yeah, like I think you fantasize through your horror pics, right? And that's where you vent all of your evilness.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
I
so
could.
incompetent music-wise. I love music, Doc.
That is true.
Yeah.
Look at that. She's incompetent with evil, so she needs it to be fed to her. Yeah. You might be onto something, right? Can you plug Mitch's thing?
Vote for Mitch.
Vote for Mitch. Yeah. There'll be a link in the show notes. He needs the Film Vault help, and he helps the Film Vault quite a bit. So let's return the favor.
Yeah,
and vote.
the something
vote for
for
Mitch.
horror.org. Hold
And
on, get
he's in line
I'll
to
find
make a
it.
few bucks and
I'll
get
find
flown
it.
out to Los Angeles, where he gets to meet Toby Hooper. Was it?
No, it was some person I
Kane
heard of.
Hodder.
I know it's not Toby
Oh.
Hooper. Okay.
Faceofhorror.org. Look for Mitch Burns.
Robert England is. I think he's going to have
Robert
brunch
England,
with
big
Robert
time.
England.
Yeah, right.
And he's also sitting down with Bryan. He's going to do a sit-down one-on-one interview for the Film Vaulters, which is his podcast.
You know, it was a great drop that you never used.
Florence did the Film Vaulters.
I did do
Yeah.
I did the first episode
Oh,
of the Film
hey,
Vaulters.
Yeah. I gotta listen
When
to
Robert England came into Loveline, and was a caller called up and said his favorite kill involved Robert England saying, and he did it in the voice, "You want to get high," or something like
Yeah.
that. You never used that drop.
No, I left it for you, buddy. You probably use it a lot,
I
right?
use it a lot. It's
Yeah.
one of my drops.
You made it one of your jobs.
That's
yeah.
right.
Hey, this will probably upset you, Florence. I don't know if I've told you this before, but you love horror and you love all the nostalgia and the memorabilia. And for whatever reason, when Robert Englund came on to Loveline, he took a white T-shirt that we had on hand and a Sharpie, and he drew a little picture of Freddy, and he wrote something and then signed his name to it. At one point or another, I was in need of a shirt, and I wore that shirt, and that shirt got dirty,
collectible.
and I put it in the wash, and it's just in my rotation, and I wear it a lot. And you can barely see what the hell's on there anymore. And I probably shouldn't have done that. That was probably not smart of me.
No, I'm not upset by that. I actually love that.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
you,
that.
You can't tell. Now it just looks like it's kind of dirty, right? Always get this white shirt, and you can see like something
Anderson.
faintly is on there.
That is a 4-figure shirt, at least, to like the right collector.
Probably.
It probably
Yeah.
One of a
was.
kind, personalized.
Yeah. Robert Englund. Yeah, because horror is like big, but it was a really
I've never
comfortable.
worn a
like
$1,000
Hanes. It was
shirt.
Hanes. Like you know those kind that you get like $15. You get a 4-pack. It was one of
Yeah.
those. And those are
Yeah.
really comfy.
Yeah, that's pretty expensive, so you probably wanted to wear it.
I mean, it was more of a convenient thing.
Yeah.
But
Why
yeah,
did you need a shirt?
I forget. I was,
Okay.
you worked with me. Like stuff happens at work. I don't know.
Oh, was it the night you spilled all the food or yelled at me to clean it up?
I know it wasn't that night, Brian. It was
that
a
would
different
explain
night.
a
But a lot of things happened at Loveline back in the day.
Was it the night you saw Suicide Squad and your shirt went flying?
It could have been. I
In
could
my
have come
mind-
straight from a movie.
I've added
Spilled
to your
some of the
story
soup
that
on
your
the-
shirt comes off and your shoes are
Well,
flying
I'm
off.
not like doing like
That's-
a WWE thing. I'm in the first row with a railing, right? So like
He goes
it's like
Hulk
row
Hogan.
D.
He goes Hulk Hogan on a shirt and rips it.
I'm like, you know what? This movie is not entertaining me at all. I'm going to entertain myself with letting the screen know what I really think of it. And I was just, and God, was I upset
showed that
when the credits and I'm like, finally, my life can continue. Thank God it's fucking over. And I look up and I see some movement, which I had not seen because I think the guy was like, I don't know, maybe sleeping. But
He
the
didn't
kicker,
say anything to
he
you?
said nothing. And then the kicker, I've said this before on the show, but I went in the bathroom. I was just mortified. I'm like, I can't believe that guy was in here the entire time. Fairly dark movie, too, so maybe that's another reason why I couldn't see him. He was top right-hand corner. I go into the bathroom.
He was probably scared of you, Anderson. It was very
No,
frightening.
he wasn't, because this is what happens. I go in the bathroom. He comes in right behind me. And he goes, pretty good, huh? It's the third time I've seen that movie. So I don't think he can even hear me.
Oh,
He probably
I
saw
thought
me.
you were
Yeah.
excited.
Maybe, yeah.
you know what?
Oh,
you,
no.
Yeah, maybe.
I need to find that guy and let him know the truth. I
You
can't
know
have
what
him.
you should have done? You should have called Brian and narrated
I should've.
why you were mad the entire
Did I
movie.
assign that to you?
It was at the Cinemark up here, which was,
Oh,
I don't know,
Howard Hughes?
at Howard Hughes. Yeah,
Oh,
that
God.
was the theater.
I
And
just wanted to.
there was
Okay.
like no service in there. I probably did think about calling Brian, yeah. I probably would have liked to have FaceTimed him and
Darn.
yelled at him.
Yeah.
Why did you see it?
You assigned it to me.
No.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's see what Mike Cole says.
You assigned me
That's
Suicide
That's
Squad.
impossible.
No, you 100% assigned it to me. remember bragging about how I was never going to see that piece of absolute garbage.
You know,
It's like
Florence is right. It has its moments. Oops.
Florence is just shining her niceness bright. Okay, let's get to the program.
Want to talk about the list?
Yeah.
Please set us up. I'm going to look and see if I assigned this to him.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, well, I mean, wherever you like to go. You want to go very last? How do you feel about your number one? Would you like that to end the program? Would you like middle? You want to go first or last? That's what I would think.
I'll go first.
Take it away.
I have a one that I'm going to call a 5.5. I'm going to do my 5.5 and a 5 together.
I don't understand what that means.
And-
Oh, I see. Okay.
And the reason I did a 5.5 is because I really wanted to talk about Evil Dead Rise. And it's a new movie, so it's sort of recent for a top 5 list, but I love this movie so much. It's one of my top 3 favorite movies of the year. And I love the location. I haven't stopped thinking about it. It was directed by Lee Cronin. It's from this year. And it took Evil Dead out of the woods and it made the movie Reborn for me. It took place mostly in a creepy, rundown, Art Deco LA apartment building. And it's just wonderful. It has this extremely creepy elevator, a underground basement garage that breaks down, and then there's like this old bank that is built, that the garage is built on top of. It has all these great sets, and this isn't really like the setting, but I just have to mention her. Alyssa Sutherland played the mother in the movie, and she was just exquisite. This movie is scary.
This is
and
recent, right?
This is recent. It came out like in the spring.
Oh, this. Oh,
Yeah,
wow, that was really
and it's just wonderful. I love this movie. It's kind of beautiful in a way, and they did one of the mazes at Universal was Evil Dead Rise, and it was my favorite maze of the night. So that's why I did it a 5.5 because it's recent.
Okay.
But
where is this actual house?
Brian wants to know if he's been there.
It's in LA,
I've been there.
or it's supposed to be in LA, and it's an apartment building. Okay. It's probably about 14 stories high. I don't know if it's a real location, but it's run down. It's creepy. It's very Art Deco. It's just wonderful. So that was one that was my 5.5. But my number 5 is Cabin in the Woods, directed by Drew Goddard from 2011. Mm-hmm. So the whole movie, the locations are wonderful. You have the cabin, which is a very traditional horror movie location, like Friday the 13th or Evil Dead.
Checks all the boxes.
Yeah, but then you go to the lab, and it shows all these different monsters. And this is a movie I have put on my list of a movie that I wish was longer. When you see all the monsters, I could have watched 45 minutes of that scene alone.
That's a movie unto itself.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So that is my number 5 for favorite horror movie locations.
That's a great choice.
It's everything in the movie.
Yeah, let's. I'm gonna look it up real quick because I want to see if and where it's streaming, because that is a great like Halloween. Like if you're having a party, or just friends over, enjoyable, still scary, but it for me,
it's funny. It's very funny.
Yeah, it's funny. As a younger Chris Hemsworth, and
I didn't even realize who that was when I saw the movie, because he was nobody to me when I first saw the Cabin.
Right, it was
and Bradley
streaming
Whitford,
on Max.
Yeah,
and
it is on Max.
And Richard Jenkins.
And Richard Jenkins crushing it. They were both so good.
Sigourney Weaver in one of the more awkward fight scenes ever filmed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, having Sigourney Weaver in that movie is so fun.
It's
she
inspired.
comes in at the end. It is
She does
very
that. She
inspired.
elevates a lot of movies.
She does.
Same with Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Like,
Right.
It was great having her in that. Ghostbusters, even though she wasn't as big back then, but
Finding Dory.
You're right. I'm Sigourney Weaver playing herself.
Brian, what's your number 5?
Number 5 for me.
Well done, Florence. Well done.
Thank you.
Indeed. Number 5 for me is Carrie from 1976. Straight up. I think all my movies end up being pretty. One would be. We'll discuss whether or not you can call it a horror film. Carrie, however, right down the middle, 1976's Carrie, had scenes of the school scenes shot at Hermosa Valley School, formerly Pier Avenue Junior High School, at 1645 Valley Drive in Hermosa Beach. Have you ever been?
Not to my knowledge. No,
I've
I
never
don't hang out at junior highs.
Yeah, I don't
typically.
hang out at junior highs too, but it's
Sounds
very
like you
close to the beach.
Yeah.
And very close to the pier.
Yeah.
And thus I've parked there
So you go over there,
many times.
hang around.
I've even probably stepped foot on
Loiter.
the campus,
Yeah.
on a weekend or two.
I just have to pay. Where's the girls' gym? I mean, where's the boys' gym?
I don't believe I said that.
Oh.
It stood in for Bates High School. And yes, I've driven by this school hundreds of times. Probably
Oh, you
parked
have?
there.
You slowed down?
Dozens. No, how dare you? Almost always on the weekend or early mornings.
Summer school kids. Like
That's right.
the weekend
That's
kids.
the best time.
Those are the kids that
uniforms.
they need help. Right?
That's right.
They're vulnerable.
Also, Sue Snell's house from this movie is actually in a very nice part of town up on Amalfi Street up in the Pacific Palisades.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that's right. Other films. Again.
They don't
yes.
drink. They don't drink $30 bottles of wine up there, do they, Brian?
They clean with those. Yeah, they'll clean up their gutters.
they use that to just if they're garbage
That's like
disposal.
turpentine.
Grab the $30 bottle of wine. I gotta unclog the garbage disposal, flush it out.
Yeah, where's the Drano? Don't have any. Oh, grab the duck horn.
Drano might cost more than the wine that I drink. It probably does.
Oh, Lord.
That's a good point.
I don't drink the wine that very often, but when I do. I don't drink wine often, but when I do.
You drink something cheaper than Drano?
It's a liquid plumber.
Hey, I like my $2 Chuck. Leave me alone. Number 5 for me is the Train and Train to Busan. All right, it's clever, it's fun, it's like Snowpiercer, but there's zombies trying to get on. I like that Train to Busan.
I've not
Still
been to that
underrated.
train.
People really enjoy the Train to Busan. So do I. It was a new twist on the zombie genre, and when you're stuck on a train, you're trying to escape from one to the next, and it gets more horrific in each car. A lot to like there with that Train to Busan. You seen that Train to Busan?
I have. It might be one of my favorite train movies.
It really is good. It
It's
really
good.
is
Do
good.
any research. Is it a real, like an active train you can ride
Yeah, it's a
on?
real train. They didn't CGI or build an
No, I
entire
mean-
train because
Well, they
they
could've
found
built
it prohibitive to the budget to actually build a train line for
Right,
the
they could
movie.
have refurbished.
So what they
the
did
train
was they used
for
a
the
train that
purposes.
already existed because rather than laying the track, you know what I mean, building the cars
I'm
out
just saying
from
for-
scratch.
$20 million movie, that's a drop of the bucket.
A $20 million movie to make a full train line.
That's a build a train.
Like they're traveling. It's not like Snowpiercer where it's all bullshit. Like it's an actual train they're on. It's located like they shot on location type thing. I'll never forget that deer that you see in the very beginning when you know shit's going south, right? That little deer in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Hey. All right. Number 4.
Number
Florence.
4.
We got a 4.5 here, Florence.
I don't. But my number 4 is Skeleton Key,
Ooh.
directed by Ian Softly, starring Kate Hudson, Gina Rowlands, and Peter Skarsgård. It takes place in Louisiana. So it starts in New Orleans, and it's in the heart of the city, but very quickly moves to rural Louisiana in a very traditional, I don't really know if you would call it a plantation house, but that kind of look.
Sure.
You know, with the big
Elevated
columns.
porch.
That
Oh,
kind of
Brian's
thing.
been to those. Let me
Yeah.
tell
And
Best place
it's
to make a line.
in the movie, it's very off the beaten path, and Kate Hudson goes to take care of 2 older people. And it is such a good movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I haven't. I
hi-
confuse this with The Gift.
Oh, no, totally different. This movie is so fun. It has a great ending. It has some really nice moments of levity.
Wait,
Kate-
did you say Kate Hudson or Katie Holmes?
Kate
Hudson.
Hudson.
Okay, that's what I was
Yeah,
getting
Goldie
confused.
Hawn's daughter.
Yes.
And it's kind of an older movie, like 2005-ish, I think. And Kate Hudson is supposed to be from New Jersey, and Gina Rowlands is showing her around her lush gardens at her house in Louisiana, and she goes, "Oh, I bet you've never seen a house like this or a garden like this in New Jersey." And Kate
the
Hudson
Garden
says,
State.
"Yes, that's
Did
what
she say
Kate
that?
Hudson
Oh,
said."
wow, nice.
Yeah, and Gina Rowlands goes, "I don't think so."
Good.
So this is a great movie. The locations are great. A lot of stormy nights and just very Louisiana feeling.
You're
and
halfway
I
there
love
with
the
Louisiana,
locations.
you know what I mean? You got
Yeah,
the sort of lore and
exactly.
the haunting and all that stuff.
Exactly.
All right.
That's my number 4.
Yeah, I've not seen this, and I'm intrigued now. I'd like to see it. I would like to see it. Yes.
Great ending.
Speaking of
See
Kate-
it for Halloween.
It makes me think of Stephen King. I think he had a book called Skeleton Key that I read.
He
A collection of
did. He
stories.
did. But this is
That might be
nothing to
like
do with it.
Where
Yeah.
the freight came from and the,
Speaking of
the
Kate Hudson,
raft.
have you seen music?
No.
That's
Isn't
horri-
it a
that's
movie that's
horrific.
not good?
It's
Okay.
It's horrifying.
This is much better than that, I'm sure.
It was douche chill and inducing, yeah.
There-
They made some
there-
mistakes. Sia went for it, and she missed.
It was problematic.
The little girl is very, very. Well, she's challenged in the movie, but I mean, she's very adept at dancing and performing, and I'm not sure that she should have been doing the facial tics.
I don't
In
think
fact, I'm very
anything
sure she should
upset
not have
me.
been doing the facial.
I don't think anything upset me on the show is when you keep going on and on about how hot she was. That upset me a lot.
Is this payback for all my
That-
junior
that upset me
junior
a
high
lot.
talk that I did about 3 minutes ago? Brian, go ahead. What do you got?
This
or is it my
just
turn?
in.
It's my turn.
I assigned you Suicide Squad in September of 2016.
Yeah. Just for the record, I never talked about that girl being hot. She plays a autistic girl, and she is typical. She's not autistic, and she plays very autistic throughout the entire fucking movie.
How-
Her name is Music. She's the titular character, as
How
Brian likes to say.
appropriate or inappropriate
Sia directed
would
it,
it be
and it is uncomfortable.
if you cast her
okay.
to reprise that character in your film?
How just how tone deaf would it be? That would be like an alt-right move to just be like, here's what I think of cancel culture. I'm doubling down. I don't know why I got to use that voice. I mean, there's alt-right people who sound like they're from England because they are. That's why they Brexited. All right, let's move on. Number 4 for me.
No, 4 for me.
4 for okay.
Well, it could be for you.
Doesn't really matter.
I don't care.
Go ahead.
Number 4 for me, recently seen by us because it was assigned. Talking about Drag Me to Hell.
Mm-hmm.
Drag Me to Hell had a location here in Los Angeles at 10 Chester Avenue, downtown. Mere steps, Anderson. Steps from where my fraternity had initiation rituals at a church. Right around
What
on
kind
the
of
same
little
property.
rituals did they
on
do?
the same, I don't ask. I can't tell. On the same block is the house that is. Oh, should I write it down?
It's not the
Right?
same property. It's the same block. And Brian, you're even. Not only are you picking
It's
poorly because it's like, oh well, I have something to do with this
Well, you
location. That's
had
why
this
it's on my
on your
list.
list.
But you weren't even there. You were by there.
I did. Go
You were
there.
by it.
I actually did go by because there were a couple of times where I didn't have.
You ever
much,
go inside?
I didn't have much to do. No, but I was able to walk around, and I just walked like a kitty corner across the block, not across the block, across the property to like this other house, and it's like, oh my god, this place is magnificent.
So
turns out it's in the movie. It's in the movie Drag Me to Hell.
if you
Is it
walk,
the house she lives in?
No,
or-
it's the house
no.
that the seance person lives in.
Oh,
is it just the
okay,
establishing
okay.
shot? And they probably did
Damn, did I write down what it's
Stage.
called? Is it, there's the Dorian house. or
sound
something.
stage for the actual.
How
That looked
did I
like a
not write
sound
that
stage
down?
studio movie. So they just used it for an establishing.
That's really
shot.
embarrassing.
Brian, if you walked by Madison Square Garden and like Zeppelin was in there playing or something, would you tell everyone that you've seen Zeppelin?
No,
Because I feel like you would. That's your criteria. Like that you've been
But I've
there.
seen the movie.
You've walked by it.
I've seen The Song Remains the Same. So I feel like I've seen Zeppelin.
Number 4 for me.
Wait,
The
no,
next-
hold on. What's done? They also shot some scenes for that movie at Norm's Restaurant in La Cienega, which I have been to, and is part
So
of.
have I. That's where I had pepper
shockingly,
spray on my
This
steak.
whole house is
It
part
was
of
very bad.
Mount St. Mary's College, which not USC. It's right there on like practically on USC's campus, and yet it's not part of their university.
This is scintillating. We should continue this.
Other films shot there include Autofocus and Intolerable Cruelty.
Oh no, what
as
scene
well
in
as The
autofocus?
Princess Diaries and Payback.
What scene do you think they shot? Autofocus.
Oh no.
Oh no, exactly. Okay. Sorry, I'm being mean, Brian. It's
You
just
really
so
are.
easy. It's so easy. I mean, it's just not. You're like, it was at USC. I went to USC. See the connection?
I walked right up to that place.
Number 4 for me. I'm not gonna take a whole lot of time. It's just the house. The house. Are you still going on?
Why didn't I
about-
write it down?
I tied my shoe once 3 blocks away from this location. Number 4 for me is the house, the suburban house from Poltergeist. Just the fact that it was a regular old house. We've all had a friend
Have you
for the
been
most
there?
part. I've actually driven by that house. Yeah. I know exactly where it is. It's the Simi Valley, I think. We've all had, it's actually
I think you're right, actually.
similar to the new construction that's out in this part of town and
Yeah.
that part of town out there. We've all had friends, not all of us, but a lot of us
Would
who
you
lived out
consider
here.
that a tract home?
It's a tract home, yeah, which makes it very benign, something you would not normally be scared of, and that's the beauty of this location for this movie is it's just so vanilla, so bland, so normal. It's not like the big Victorian creepy horror house that usually it is. It's in
Right.
a very relatable, normal, like middle class house that makes you kind of freaked out even more when you're just trying to go back to one that's kind of similar to it.
This just in. It's called the Doheny
See,
Mansion.
this is why I didn't want to go because I knew that it was going to come back to this.
Doheny Mansion.
Thanks, Brian. Great. Yeah, I've
I
been
can't
there.
believe I didn't write that down.
I've been there. I forget why, but I have been to the Bohemian
Paranormal
Mansion.
Activity got a lot of
Yeah.
traction on using like the suburban tract houses, very
Very
90s,
benign, yeah.
early 2000 look.
Every time Jillian's standing over our bed, I think of Paranormal Activity too, because it's not like some kind of creepy with lightning and thunder behind her and a big creepy tree. Even though Poltergeist did have that outside the window, especially with the clown scene. But yeah, and then also and I think I was way too young and obtuse to get it back when I saw it. But what they're saying with those new tract homes and the way we live today, and ultimately without giving the movie away, like I love all that kind of shit. Like one of my favorite things about A Ghost Story is like that part where they go through and they show you all the different
The
things that have
iterations,
happened.
yeah.
I think about like God knows what we're living on
Yeah.
and by.
I think about that. Like, what happened in this house?
What happened like when we're walking down the street? Like how many we go by things where places where just amazing and horrific and crazy things happen, but we have no fucking clue. We have
Then
no
once
idea.
in a while, you see like a plaque on this site.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Jesus,
Yeah.
how?
Jesus was on this. I went to see where the Mother Mary may or may not have lived in Turkey. We actually stood in line and
wow.
walked through her house, which is still
Oh,
the same.
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty
Speaking
cool.
of which, I saw a trailer for it seems like a religious musical coming out around Christmas time. Of
Sweet.
the story of Jesus' birth.
All right.
Mary and Joseph are played by upsettingly Anglo actors. And they meet and they fall in love.
Wait, Jesus wasn't white?
Jesus was a Middle Eastern man. He was a Jewish.
He probably looked like the guy, not unlike the guy. That's another thing about the creator. All right, so why do they show the guy getting popped, right? The robot guy, right?
And
And then they show, oh, look, there's another version of him. Okay, cool. And then they follow him around until his head just explodes. It's like, why? And I'm like, all right, that guy's going to come back because he's somebody. Nope, never comes
It
back.
has no bearing whatsoever.
But that's what
It never
Jesus probably
pays
looked
off.
like, right?
Yeah, Jesus will never come back.
Did we talk on the show about him having his limbs? Yeah, I think it was on the show, right? And why, that never came back either?
John
Yeah.
Davidson?
John David Washington? Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Why have that? Yeah, we did. It was on
Yeah,
the show.
it never came around.
All right, sorry for that diatribe.
All right, I'm going to take a step back and just mention autofocus for a second. If you guys ever come to Scottsdale, I can show you where Bob Crane was killed, what condos were
Oh,
killed. It's
fun.
on Chaparral. You know Scottsdale,
Yeah, I
so
do.
yeah. Anyways,
On Chaparral?
Is it Old Town or is it
it's a little bit north of Old Town.
Okay.
It's sort of by Fashion Square.
North? Yeah.
Interesting.
Been
All
there
right.
many times.
I wanted to get the dearly departed tour from Florence. I think she'd be great at it. And here's
Yeah,
where
but they
this.
don't do it anymore, right?
No, but Florence would give it to us, like
Oh,
in
I see.
Scottsdale. Like find some other people that have been
right.
murdered.
Find out where a bunch of people died.
Okay, I will.
She would be
I
the
can do
best
that.
tour guide of like awful, horrific things. Wouldn't she be? Just all cheery and
That's
happy
right.
in Florence.
And here's where Bob Crane died.
Yeah.
Bob was famous.
They found they found the Black Dahlia over there, sexually displayed and
That's right.
mutilated,
That's right. You
but just
convinced.
with her smiley sing-songy. Oh yes, we're on to something. Hey, when you retire, Florence, from law,
All right. Okay.
Can I tell you something? I'm tickled by how upset my number 3 is going to make you.
God, you would love the Dearly Departed tour that no longer exists,
I
Florence.
know.
You
I'll
would
have
have
to
loved
make
it.
my own,
They show
just
you
like
like
you
where
said.
they found the Dalai Lama. Like they drive you like on that corner. I'm like, I've been going by
Dalai
that
Lama.
corner.
Black
Not the
Dahlia?
Dalai Lama, the Black Dahlia. I've been going by that for like 30 years. And I had no idea that something so evil and scary was right there. Right there. So good. Chill inducing.
It's upsetting.
You guys want to hear my number 3?
Only if I can ask you this.
Sure.
Do I have to have seen all my movies?
No.
Okay, perfect.
No. You can do whatever you want on this list. That's the beauty of
What?
this list.
That's right. Hey,
You didn't
this-
see? Brian, no, that's
The decider has said so.
that's the number. That's one of the only rules we have is that it's good,
So-
and it's not determined by whether you've been there or not,
Well,
and that you've seen
I
the
went a
movie,
different direction.
so that you can keep your streak alive. That you've been there.
That's right.
It's like reverse engineering. It's like did you think about maybe going out and shooting some scenes of a horror movie that doesn't exist in your house, so you could be like, that's actually where I live.
That's fucking genius.
Did you think about that?
I can't say that I did, but in retrospect, I wish I had.
He's changing his number 1
Yeah,
right now.
seriously.
We're going to take a
Reverse-
5-minute break.
Engineering the list.
Oh my god.
This
It's
movie
all
doesn't
taking place
exist
on
yet.
the couch.
It was shot yesterday. It's in the can.
That's genius.
All right,
Oh,
Florence.
sorry.
sorry.
Florence.
My number 3 is the whole state of Washington in The Ring, directed by Gore Verbinski from 2002.
My number 3 is Earth.
Wait, let me describe this. Like, let me explain this.
It is very iconic to that movie.
Yes, it is. We all watched Malevolent together. You guys, of course, were doing the watch along being on screen.
Malignant.
But oh my God,
I've never
Malignant.
seen Malevolent.
That's all right. I just said Dalai Lama for Black
I
Dahlia.
know.
It's cool.
Gosh, there's a
Racist
horror movie
asshole.
with Florence
Nothing to do.
Pugh that keeps popping up on.
There's a what?
A horror movie with Florence Pugh that I think is called Malevolent.
Is it called Midsummer?
And
Is it called?
no,
I see.
no, and I keep calling Malignant Malevolent, but it is Malignant that
Okay.
I'm trying to talk about. And there was that great Victorian house, but The Ring does it better for me. The city, it starts in the city, which has a great feel, and the tone, it almost looks like a black and white movie. It has this just sort
It's
of
very muted.
right. Sort of this gray tone. You rarely see daylight or sun. It's raining a lot or night, almost like a gray palette. And when oh my God, now Anderson's probably going to reach over and punch me because I'm going to do something that Brian
really
just did.
I tend not to do that.
She hasn't
When,
actually seen The Ring.
when I was in Seattle, I was in an Uber and I saw the apartment building that Naomi Watts lived in.
Did you scream
I did.
and upset the poor taxi driver?
I told the Uber driver, I'm like, those are the buildings from The Ring, and she's like, I don't
She's
know.
like, what is?
Yeah.
What?
No, she was
What is?
just a girl, like kind of a younger girl, but she didn't know it. And there's this great scene. I'm just gonna keep plowing
Tell us,
through.
tell us,
I'm
tell us,
plowing
tell
through.
us.
No, it's okay.
Brian, that's one of the funniest things you've ever said.
There's a great scene where Naomi Watts is looking into the apartments at the other building, and it's just so much fun. And I screamed it out to the Uber driver, who
Oh,
did
it's
not
Uber
say
driver. Brian,
what
it doesn't
is.
work anymore.
Sorry.
It can still work with an Uber driver. I've been in a lot of Ubers
Well,
today.
sure,
It
that's
still
really
does
good point,
work.
yeah.
Okay.
And anyways, the whole state is, she goes to those islands in
the
Washington,
ferry, yeah.
like with the ferry and the horses and
You
like
get a real
all of that.
feel for the.
Yes.
for the
It
Pacific
always
Mist.
made me
Life.
want to like just do kind of like a ring tour. And so I
Fun.
know maybe it's like a little bit of cheating, but I am going to say the whole state of Washington and the ring
Okay.
for a horror movie
See,
locale.
she's been to the location. You have a problem with that?
Oh yeah, that's why I was going to punch her. She thought.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I also understand why her rules are so loose with the state of fucking Washington being one of her locations.
So a
Plus,
bit
they
of-
shot most of that in Vancouver.
Oh.
I hate to tell you.
Oh,
Thank you,
did
Brian.
they?
I just made that up. I have no
Oh,
idea. I don't
okay.
know. It could be the case. It's
Number 3
cheaper
for
up
me.
there.
A
Good
film
for
I
me.
have not seen.
Mm.
Does that upset you?
What?
Does that upset you?
That you haven't seen? Of course. We've been.
I've
through
not
this,
seen this
Brian.
film. However, it came up in my research, and I'm like, I've been
been
there
there.
many times.
Yeah, correct.
And I realized it's in a movie I have seen, not a horror film, Clueless. But the horror film I'm drawing from is The Undead from 1957. 1957 is kind of a schlocky movie, apparently, but it is known officially as the Spaneda House. However, known locally as the Wish House. Are you familiar with the Wish House?
I'm not.
There is a house in Beverly Hills, like where the really, really wide streets are, just north of Santa Monica Boulevard. It's pretty much on your way back to where you're staying.
I just came that way
Yeah,
to get here,
so you could-
actually.
You could probably
You could see this B schlocky movie locale on the way back. Isn't that
Yeah,
exciting?
If you wanted to stop
Brian's
on,
been there.
You can see it.
Did you hear that part?
I've been there because
Yes.
this is a house.
She's going,
And
even if
it-
it's way out of the way.
Can you please
She's
look
gonna get there.
up Beverly Hills, the Witch House? Because you're going to look at it and you're going to understand why they call it that. It looks like it's a witch's house. Like it's in a very old-timey style where you're like, oh, that looks almost medieval or like, of the 1600s. And it was made for a studio in Culver City in 1920.
Oh, it's in a little neighborhood. I've passed this house a bunch of times.
It
It's
was
in a
Oh,
pretty nice
wow.
neighborhood.
wow.
Yeah.
And they literally moved the entire house from Culver City to Beverly Hills, where it exists now, and people live there. It's a private residence, and we, as a family, have driven by there and stopped there many times. Because whenever in the neighborhood, Tessa, when she was younger, would always be like, "Can we stop by the witch's house?" So yes, we can, Tessa. And all we did was look around because they have a lot of fun decorations. The landscaping is really unique.
All right, maybe you do want to go by the witch house.
Fun signage, but it's
Spadina House. The
and-
Spadina House.
Is that what I said? Spadina?
I don't know. I don't listen to
Anyway,
you.
and there's always tourists there taking pictures. Like we're just outside playing, Tessa's running around, and there's always people from out of town, taking pictures of the famous witch house, which apparently was featured in the movie The Undead. I did not realize that, but also featured in Clueless.
Yeah, Brian, this is
That's
number 3 for me is very recent. However, we did this list 10 years from now. Barbarian's going to be on there, right? How can it not be? Barbarian is going to forever.
Basement.
Well, I mean, I don't even have to say it because either you've seen the movie or you haven't. But it's the Airbnb in Barbarian, and I've been at estate sales where we go to certain parts of the house and people are like, "Oh my God, this is like," and then they say Barbarian at the same time. It's like exactly like it's going to be part of our conscious for those of us who have seen it. As silly as the end gets, the very end, which I didn't really care for once they leave the main location, the location itself lends itself to horror, absolute terror, right? Grotesque things, like very, very upsetting things, and lots of comedy, all because of the
certain
location.
things that are hard to believe.
But the comedy that you get out of Justin Long's character with the tape measure is fucking great. It's so good.
Wasn't it Gio sent us the transcribed videotapes titles?
It absolutely was.
That's
Giovanni
great.
who did that
Enjoyable.
for us.
my new videotape could be girl who gives cheery
That's right.
tour of dead houses
right.
or something.
Don't get picked up
Cheerful
by
horror
him.
fan.
Don't get picked up by him. Don't even say that. How dare you?
I know. I
Wait,
just
do we
love
have
the
any info on this?
house
Where's
in
the house?
Barbarian.
What is the house?
Where is the house?
I'm not doing it that way. I'm just talking about a location.
Wait.
You took it in a different way, which I could have done that. But like, it's actually in a house that's here.
Yeah.
I walked by. I walked
Is it
by.
actually in
Stanley
Detroit?
peed on the tree that's out front.
This is
I
my
thought it was
list,
more
and you're
locale.
both right. You're both right.
Oh,
Thank
look
you,
at her.
Florence.
Look at her.
I appreciate that a lot.
Hold on,
I'm
I'm
a little
producing.
more
I gotta-
right, but I appreciate that a lot.
I got to go ahead, Barbara.
I already
buy
went.
me some time because we got to take a break.
All
And
right,
I got to
taking
find
a
the
break.
music that gets us
Oh.
out there.
We will take a break momentarily.
Okay.
Do some Amazon stuff, as we normally do.
No, I need more because I got to open
Wow.
up these files. I
Hey,
forgot.
my number 2 is going to be controversial in the sense that I don't know that it's a horror movie. Like, it's not like a
Oh my God.
traditional horror movie. However, the more I was thinking about it, the more I realized it has many elements of horror in it. You know what I mean? And I think meets a lot of some of the tropes. How fuzzy can I get on this?
No, you can get extremely fuzzy on it. 'Cause like
Okay.
I said,
You
does it sort of my thoughts were, does it build terror?
It's scary.
Does it draw you in? Does it invoke dread?
All
Like
right.
if it does any of that,
Yes.
I'm down with it.
But Brian is picking. He's bending all sorts of rules just so that he can have ones that he's been to on there. I mean,
That's
that's
right.
his. That's the main. That's a.
And it's my number 2.
It'd be
on
like
this.
if your list was top 5 locations you've been to, maybe with a horror twist or not, maybe you've seen them or not. That's the list Brian's doing. This
My
is
number
how-
2 might have said
He's
you
not
off.
picking like his real favorites.
No,
you're
No,
saying?
not at all. Not at all. He's bending the rules. This is not even a horror film.
number 2
Florence, is
is,
that okay? But
My number 2 is in a physical location. I mean, it's not a building. It's an alleyway that I've been to.
is that real? Are you saying? Are you being honest?
That's right.
What are you doing in alleyways? Is it Vaseline Alley in West Hollywood?
No.
That's not a homophobic joke. I'm just wondering if that's what
wow,
it is because I
that
think
was-
that was
really
used in movies.
hurtful that you would
It's
say
not hurtful at all. That's an actual location on Google Maps. It's called Vaseline Alley in
It's
West
Nightmare
Hollywood.
Alley.
Oh,
That's a horror movie.
let's go. Come on.
All right, coming up next, that and more after this. Where do I start?
The beginning would be good.
That's the thing. There is no beginning. The beginning is the end. Glad to see people using our Amazon banner to buy textbooks. That very much amuses me. Someone got 2021. I don't even know if it's a textbook, actually. It could be just a guidebook for their line of work. 2021 International Residential Code was purchased, as was Del Mar's standard textbook. I guess that would be a textbook of I almost said ethnicity, electricity.
Oh,
So,
ethnicity.
Someone's
Always
doing,
top of your mind.
Someone's doing some building.
Hold on. I thought I had it, but I might not. Hold on. Keep going. Talk slowly, like you know.
Other things.
No. Hold on.
Purchased
Shoot. Yeah, I'm glad that I'm making this adjustment because it's important.
on the Amazon banner
I think this should work. Okay.
include BG Dynamic Platinum Engine Restoration Service Kit was purchased. 2 Halo Bolt Airport. get closer to this in my old eyes. Halo Bolt, Air Portable. Halo Port.
You need a new
Portable
prescription,
emergency
buddy.
power kit. Okay, I should realize that. Doheny. Oh, Doheny. Doheny's swimming pool chlorine tablets. Amazon Aero Pro Mesh Wi-Fi system.
What is?
Indeed. Tell me, JTech Digital HDMI splitter, as well as an HDMI extender. Probably the same person. Speaking of probably the same person, someone got 5 Porter cable heat guns and 5 Go Make magnetic heat gun holders. So very likely the same person. Anderson.
I don't know why that makes me laugh so
Turn
much.
off your mic. Apple AirPods Pro were purchased. Corsair mechanical gaming keyboard and a Corsair Dark Core gaming mouse. Probably the same person. Greenworks 10 amp NC Kikaros manual leather sewing machine. 2 Shure cardioid dynamic vocal microphones. 4 Dockers straight fit Smart 360 flex pants. What is this? Bikoang vacuum cleaner silicone kit. Sorry, I don't know why these words are tripping me up. We got so much more to do. Damn it. We're going to try and hit the post. 2021 International. I heard the Luxorite LED ceiling light. Dr. Berg's Vitamin D3
Mitch
mouse
Burns.
case for iPhone 15 Pro. Isopure protein powder. Missouri turtle food. Someone got turtle food on Amazon. Thanks for tapping our banner. Hood Crew motorcycle bomber jacket. 8 pounds. Wow, that's a lot of Halloween candy. 8 pounds of Halloween candy. Oh, that goes quick if you're in a highly trafficked area. Geek Tail smart doorknob. Biometric doorknob. And finally, someone picked themselves up. Pureberg. Stop that. Relax. See what you do. Pureberg replacement HEPA filter set.
Nailed it.
Nailed
I'm
it.
so into the Amazon list and
Oh,
the movies click
thank
through.
you. I love it.
it.
We're gonna get a list of movies right now.
So it's not like the taxi driver is saying like, what is, where? It's the way I envision it. It's just like totally off topic. Like, what is, right? And it's just like it's a person who's like,
Well, here's
English is their
Florence
second or third language. And
Here's Florence in the back seat just screaming. That's the apartment. That's the apartment.
but it's
they're
not
in."
even like they're so wired in that they're actually saying what is, right? What I envision is they're just saying what is, what, like not having any idea what the
No,
what.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Now I
that's
got-
why it's
All right.
that's why it's so funny.
Now I got to pee.
Here are the members that were clicked through since the last time I talked at y'all. Somebody clicked through and got the Rob Zombie triple feature, House of Thousand Corpse. I'm assuming you enjoy that there, Florence.
I don't love Rob Zombie movies that much.
What about the Devil Rejects and 3 from Hell?
They're fine.
You've seen them all?
Yeah,
Well,
I
look
have.
at you. Psycho was also clicked through. Is that going to make an appearance here on the program tonight? Well, only one can tell.
Yep.
That's time. Harry and the Hendersons was clicked through. Oh, you've seen the Harry and the Hendersons, right?
Oh, forever ago.
Oh,
yeah.
so sad. They make them. They make them so sad at the end to get rid of them. It's so sad. Love that Harry. I say that sometimes, like in relationships. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's just not going to work. I'm going to have to Harry and the Henderson shit. It's going to have to happen. It's been said to me too. It's not like it's a way to break up. Benedetta. Oh, I forgot all about Benedetta. That's a tough one. Benedetta was a tough one. I forgot all about that movie. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for clicking through. My First Summer was clicked through, as well as The Evil Dead. You like that original
Yay.
Evil Dead?
Oh, I love the original Evil Dead.
I'm a big fan of the
Yeah.
second one. That's my favorite, but I think it's because of the age when I saw it. And I'd never seen like camera operation like that before, and the things that he was doing. Sam Raimi was getting
Yeah.
so creative and fun. The whole crew and cast and we're doing really fun things. Much different tone than that first one. Though. That first one's pretty intense.
Yeah, I don't know. You know,
There's
there's
tree rape.
something about the first one that I really like more.
And
And I wonder if this is the original one or I wonder if this is 2012.
who knows? Yeah, Brian doesn't denote.
Anyways, I love them both.
Barbie and Bottoms, which have similar themes, but they were both clicked through as well. So there's that. How you doing, Florence?
I'm good.
Talk. We're waiting on Brian right now. He decided to use the bathroom at an inopportune time, but
All right.
you know what's weird is you and I, we talk on a fairly regular basis.
We do.
You're very supportive, and not only that, you have great ideas and great energy. And like I get a little bit sad when you're not on the producers meetings because you just bring a little extra, whether you realize it or not. You're just there all the time. But just having you there is great. And Florence and I talk off air about things and movies quite often, and I'm a little different as I am in life when I'm away from this table. And it is a little strange having you sit next to me when I'm being so angry and myself Anderson with Bryan, because Bryan just pulls that side of me out, and it's weird. It's weird because I try and not be too disruptive when I'm talking. I don't. It doesn't even come out. It doesn't even occur to me to be like angsty or angry because I'm not. But I am when I'm sitting across from Bryan.
Well, since he's gone, I'm not trying to talk about him, but I'm going to talk about something totally different.
He loves that.
But I don't know if you remember, but probably like a year or so ago, you recommended the French movie Raw to me.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
And I really like that movie. And you want to hear, oh my God, this is going to make me sound crazy. But the relationship of the mother and the father that gets kind of revealed at the end is sort of how I feel about my husband. And it's sort of loving, but in a sick way.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, does that make me
So
insane?
You saying that's how I am with Bryan? I love him in a sick way?
No, it's
your
nothing to
daughter's
do
here.
with Bryan at all. Was just bringing that movie up. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, does this make me like a crazy person?
I need to see, because I don't remember that element. I don't remember the
It's almost like a little bit of a twist, so I don't even I don't want to say it. But if you ever go back and watch it, and just remember, that's how Florence thinks about her husband.
Okay.
And you may never talk to me again.
Oh no! Now I want to see if it's streaming anywhere and just watch the last 10 minutes to know who we just did a show with, and who I just spoke nice words about. Oh God, Florence.
I know. Here's my little. That's my little evil.
I gotta see if it's streaming.
Yeah, let's see. Have you seen Titan? Same director.
No.
And she upped it. She
Really?
made it a little more intense with. It's tough. But if you liked Raw was hilarious at times. When she
Yeah.
got caught eating the finger, that was one of the funniest things I saw that year. Like the
You
look on
gotta
her
rent
face.
it. You believe that?
I'm not gonna do that to find out that my friend Florence is insane. Okay. What do we say, Bryan?
Back to the show.
Back to the program.
Do you want me to go to my two?
Yeah, we're gonna start off with Florence's number 2 and wrap this baby up. What's your number 2?
All right. You know what? I changed this in the middle of the show. This is
Really?
not my original number 2.
Oh.
I'm going to change my number 2 to It Follows. And it's the town.
The town
Where
itself.
and when is this town? I love this town. It has a shoreline and these rundown houses.
I
It's
feel
very
like
Cape Cod.
Yeah,
but I feel like
to me, it's
Central
more
California.
Michigan, like Detroit.
Oh, like on the lake.
Yeah, but it's sort of anywhere in a way, and so
And-
I love it.
It's Martha's Vineyard.
Do they ever say where it's set? Like, do they ever?
I don't think so, and I think I tried to research it, and I didn't come up with anything. This,
You know what? Okay, go ahead.
This is a movie I always put into my worst sex scenes ever. Those unenthusiastic humping scenes. Like, no thanks. Like, why are the sex scenes so gross?
Your daughter is mere feet away. This is freaking me out.
Oh yeah. I just turned over and like.
She actually does look surprised. So far, nothing that Florence has said has really made her daughter do anything or say anything. But she's given that look like, oh my God, my mom's saying these things into a microphone. You know what just occurred to me, and it's never occurred to me, and I like that It Follows quite a bit, enough to even watch and try and give a chance to Under the Silver Lake. I don't know if you saw that one. But,
No.
You're gonna mess
there's
them up.
there's some
think
there's some
so.
good stuff, but I want to recommend it. But it's all about STDs, right? And it's all about the sexually transmitted ghosts, and the fact that it's kind of done in a summertime vacation locale probably wasn't like by mistake. They probably wrote it that way, thinking like this is where a lot of young people go and on a summer vacation and like have a little flings and stuff, and then they go home and they have this ghost. Or
Oh, sure.
I wonder if that was it never occurred to me until just
I
now.
don't remember if it was ever named in the film, but the film was shot in and around Detroit.
Okay.
Michigan, look at you. So that's not the ocean, that's a lake.
Well done.
Huh.
It's a huge lake.
They're very big. Those Great Lakes are
Yes,
giant.
they are.
Almost as big as the tank in The Creator. Almost. Not quite.
Dwarfed by the tank.
That tank were to go into Lake Michigan, it would just all
It
the
would
water would be
displace the
displaced.
water.
Yeah, there would just be like a 1-inch layer of water across the entire country. That's how that works. That's science. Where are you, Brian?
Number 2.
All right.
Maybe a horror movie, maybe not. But if Florence is giving us permission to be a little stretchy with the definition, They Live. 1988's
Not a
They
horror
Live.
movie.
John Carpenter's They Live.
I would call it horror.
Okay.
Because they
Keep
have no
going,
skin on
Brian.
their
Thank
face.
you.
You may proceed.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. So the iconic fight scene, right, between Roddy Piper and Keith David.
Horror. You're right. Okay.
Ooh,
Sorry, I
yeah.
default to no with you. I apologize.
The iconic fight scene takes place in a back alley. It was filmed. I don't think they ever say it was Los Angeles, but it was filmed in the alley at 645 South Hill Street. That's downtown in the Jewelry District. I was looking it up to see where it was. I have walked past that alley many times because our jeweler, the jeweler that like I bought Christie's rings at, like her wedding ring or engagement ring, it's literally half a block away. It's right there on the corner. I've walked past that alley, and just to get up to the jewelry district,
Yeah.
you got to go up to like the 17th floor or whatever, get buzzed in. But I've I unknowingly walked past that alley a half dozen times.
Don't you
and
love
didn't
that shit?
realize
I
it.
love that
Yeah,
shit.
and I realize now because certain times, like we had to go one time we had to get her ring repaired. And so like, all right, come back in half an hour or whatever and we'll have a fix for you. And we just kind of, said, all right, let's get a little bite to eat or we'll go in the square or whatever happened to be there. And we're walking around and I'm like, I remember walking like not through the alley, but right past it. And lo and behold, it was the fight scene from They Live.
But you don't know that. You haven't walked by there knowing that.
Now I
looking,
have
it's just
only
an
in
alley.
retrospect. Because I'm looking at a map and I'm like, like, that's our jeweler. And I do distance, it's like 500 feet. It's like, wow.
If I let
okay.
myself, I can lose entire days just being on IMDb and looking at locations
Yeah.
and find, especially
Yeah.
out here in LA, because there's so much. And I'll find myself doing it because it's just there's something almost like a holy grail to certain locations. It's like I can't believe it was almost like religious. Like
Right.
that was right there, and I'm standing where that scene that's been in my brain for 20 years has 30 years. It's like
It's
so
true.
important to me, and you're standing right there on it. I love that kind of stuff. My buddy Tyler White, he thinks it's the dumbest thing ever, and he doesn't understand
No.
why anyone would care. So that's an ongoing debate that we have. But I get what you're saying, Brian. However, you haven't gone back to visit it, so it doesn't
It's
really, it
true.
shouldn't really. You're just putting yourself there. So it's almost like in your head, the place is important because you were there.
I realized it retroactively.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
It is, of course, it's Carpenter. Of course, it's considered horror to an extent. So sorry for defaulting to no, Brian. My number 2 is a pretty big one, and I've had 3 houses in a row now. I had the house in Poltergeist, which is just a regular nondescript middle class tract home, and then I had the very different Airbnb in Barbarian, and now I have a very horrific house in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is everything that Florence was describing that these locations should be in the beginning of this here episode. She was talking about if it's unsettling, if it unnerves you, if it upsets you, and that's what
Yep.
this entire set did. And because it was so cheap, because they had to use actual...
It was festooned with bones.
They actually used real bones because they were cheaper than actually getting the fake bones back in the day. And it's what they don't show you. And he was trying to make a PG movie, believe it or not. Like, that's how crazy
Really?
Tobe Hooper was. He thought that he was trying to be like a good businessman and make a PG movie. So there's very little blood in the movie.
That's true.
And pretty much everything that happens off screen. And he was very upset when he
Yeah,
put it up
there's
against
a lot
the...
of like torture porn. It's just it's off screen. Never really thought about that.
It's what your brain does with filling in the blanks that really fucks with you. And he took it to the ratings board when it was completed, as they do, right? And he was pretty upset. He got an X rating,
Well, this is back in the day. It was PG
Not shocking.
and R, right?
and then X. Yeah, so he got an X, and then he had to scale it way back, I guess. And then he got the R. It's just releasable. But he really thought he was making a PG movie. But because
Times have
of
changed.
how cheap it was, that's why that movie works, and that's what people who have remade it since don't quite get. Like all of the parts that I loved about the original, the remake was just so like they just went over the top where like they didn't show the gore. Remember a guy's leg gets cut off in the remake, and then Leatherface goes over and takes like a salt lick and just shoves it on his like bloody stump, and it's like, why? I mean, that's not what made the first one creep. The door, just fucking when he opened the door, slammed the guy, pulled him in, and then closed that sliding door. Like that's the stuff of fucking nightmares. That's never leaving my head ever.
Less is more.
Less is way more. But yeah, it's that entire house that was shot. Brian, it was in Texas, and I actually went there. I was in Texas.
You did?
Once. I went through Texas a couple times. I've driven through.
Just for this?
No, it had nothing to do with Texas. Chainsaw.
Yeah, it's so original. There was no movies in that type of location ever before, and it has become so iconic. When a couple months ago we were driving through Temecula, and I was calling it Temecula Chainsaw Massacre because there were so many houses like that, and it's just part of like the norm now, you know, like that it just feels like it's been around forever, but at that time it was just so new and so original. Very iconic. I love it.
And Tobe Hooper.
I don't think Temecula has a single bottle of wine out for $30.
Yeah, you should see him. Like when I'm like, oh, I'm going out to Temecula, it's wine country, and I kind of jokingly, because I know he's a snob, say, you want me to bring you back a bottle or something? You should have just
To what? Clean my floorboards?
involuntarily just put a Temecula, please. And he's not doing it for like this.
Yeah.
Mics are off. Like this is just Brian. Please don't.
Don't insult me.
Uh,
Temecula's gonna look down.
Tobe Hooper showing up twice on my list, but I mean, for everyone's story and everyone that had anything to do with Poltergeist, evidently he didn't have a whole lot to do by the time everything was said and done, and Steven Spielberg had to step in because it was a little bit above his pay grade, and he was having a hard time keeping up. So that's I always think of Poltergeist as more of a Spiely movie. However, I do love the story how Tobe Hooper came up with the idea for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and he was in some department store or some kind of hardware store, some kind of like all you can, like a Sears or something during Christmas time in the early 70s, and there were so many people, and he was having such like anger and frustration, and he saw chainsaws, and he just fantasized about getting through the masses with the chainsaw.
Sure.
And then he's like, what if somebody actually did that? Pretty good.
And then we have the movie.
I can relate to that.
Seems like, but then they pile up. I don't know. Didn't seem like a good
I don't
plan.
feel like
Like-
the checkers would
But-
stick around
It's
and
like-
check you out.
It's like getting through Chaparral with the machete, and you
Yeah.
know, it piles up, but you clear it. Also, the guy that played Leatherface, I think this is most people know this, but like he decided that he should probably be special needs, and he actually went and spent time at a special needs school, and way back then even he's like, okay, if I do it, make this choice, I'm going to try my best to do it respectfully and not like, you know, do anything
That
just
was
over the
forward
top.
thinking.
And I mean, that's the story. And apparently people who have seen it, who are sensitive to those kinds of things, say that he did a very good job at not doing anything just
At
stupid
portraying
over the
a
top.
sense,
Yeah.
the portraying was a
Even though he is
homicidal.
massacring people, you know, but the whole family was. He just
That's
happened
true.
to be, you know, have
He, was,
special.
he didn't choose his life.
Yeah, he did what he knew.
Yeah, or what he was taught. Yeah,
Right.
he was susceptible.
We're products of our environment.
Before I get to my number one, I'm going to take what was my number two and make it a 1.25.
Sure.
Just because I have to mention it. It's just so good. It's the haunted house in The Changeling from 1980, starring George C. Scott. This is the best haunted house in the world. It's the best use of a red ball and stairs. And it
Really?
has the old-time wicker wheelchair, but this is in
Yeah,
the
that's
80s,
so
so like
creepy.
that was...
That
you
was
know,
just a wheelchair.
I don't think it was the wheelchair then, but it wasn't as antiquated as it is now. And it is such a creepy movie, and I love this movie. So it's my 1.25.
I have not seen it all the way
Never
through.
seen Changeling.
Oh, watch
I've
it.
seen
And I
chunks
think
of it.
it's...
I remember as a little kid being horrified by the change.
Yeah. My brother and I saw it at the movies when I was probably about 8, and he was 6. And
Shouldn't.
my mom
That's wrong.
took us to sort of anything, you know, that she wanted to see.
Yeah.
And
Was there like a special? If you brought kids, you got half off your ticket or something?
No,
Like,
no, not at all. Just, you know, her and my dad didn't have a babysitter, so if she wanted to see something, she took us with us.
The
We saw
Changeling is
everything.
Streaming on Peacock.
I was just going to say that.
And
Peacock,
on the icon on the poster, there is the wicker
Yeah.
wheelchair.
Peacock has great movies for Halloween.
Oh.
So if you're looking to binge movies, definitely go to Peacock and look. There's like great
You know what?
movies.
Florence, I hesitate to ask you for anything more for the show. But if you, in your free time, want to just peruse and write down a few, like
What?
well, because our listeners are.
I'm
not
watching
as,
The Changeling tonight.
but our listeners are not
For
up
next
on
week.
horror films as Florence is. And if you could like say, hey, staying in for Halloween, watching with friends, here's 5 good ones, on this service.
I actually, if you want to, at the end of when we finish our number ones, I can give you the top 13 horror movies to have on during a Halloween party.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
And
Is The Nightmare Before Christmas one of them?
it was, but I think I took it off my list.
Just trying to figure out, where we stand.
Always high in the fun scale.
My number one, and this
Is
might
it-
be a little basic,
Yeah.
but it's the Overlook Hotel
Of
from The
course.
Shining and Dr. Sleep. And the 1997 miniseries, not great, but points for using the actual Stanley
Oh.
Hotel in Estes Park.
Oh, I didn't realize they did that. I never saw
Yeah,
it.
they did. And 2019, the Dr. Sleep, the last half hour where they go back to the Overlook
pretty great.
is exquisite. It's just wonderful.
That's an underrated movie. It doesn't come up very often.
It
It's good.
doesn't. It doesn't. It is streaming on Max right now, so it is one people should watch for Halloween. And you know what's crazy? When I went and saw it at the movies, there was like no people in there. I'm like, why isn't this a bigger deal? I guess things to me are a bigger deal, and then I'm surprised when it's
Yeah,
not a
I
bigger
know the
deal to
feeling.
people.
Yeah.
Do you think
You
the
know?
average person didn't know it was a sequel to The Shining?
You know what? That very well may be.
If it was called The Shining 2, it might have got more asses.
Yeah.
Honestly, it would have.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know
You
if
know,
you
they
say that
even-
definitively over there, Mr. $30 bottle.
Yes, 100%.
They had such lovely little touches, not only from, because Stephen King's sequel to The Shining is like fine, and they took parts of it, but they
book you're
also,
talking about.
the book, but in
No,
the
the
movie,
film, he's a director.
Dr. Sleep, they made it basically a sequel to the movie The Shining and the book The Shining. They took both, and it really, really is done super well, including even using, at one point they go to, Ewan McGregor goes to this guy's room at a, like a retirement home,
Right.
and they use room, I hope I'm not
237.
confusing it. Nope, but they use 217, which is the room number from the book. And so it's just little tiny touches like that.
Alright.
People should watch
Very
it.
clever.
So The Overlook is my number one.
Well done.
Yes, it's deserved to be on there for sure. I'm glad you
you.
have it on there.
Yeah,
I
you
almost
gotta
had
see
it.
this movie.
It would have
It's
been so
really good.
tropey
It's really good.
if I had it on there.
That's right.
It's great though. That because the actual facade is a real place too. And then I've not seen
Yeah,
that
it's
place.
a ski chalet or something.
And then
right?
they built the
In London.
and then the Stanley. I have been there, so if I was doing this list and I was Brian, that would be my number one probably.
Oh.
But I didn't realize that they did the TV miniseries, which I banned at the Stanley. That's kind of
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting just for that point. Otherwise, it kind of stinks. But
Stephen
yeah.
King famously loves it and thinks it's far superior because
Who?
he and Stephen King because he does not he did not
'Cause he
ever
was
like
involved?
Stephen Kubrick's
Stanley.
Stanley Kubrick's version at all.
I think he did the screenplay to the miniseries. So I'm sure that's why
Stephen
he
King's
loves
a
it.
fucking genius, and it makes
Yeah,
me kind of
he
sad
is.
that he and Stanley Kubrick didn't get along. But hey, two
Hey, two
large,
geniuses.
two larger than life.
Well, he's probably
people.
still cashing checks from the original Shining, the
That's a really
Kubrick
good
movie.
point.
So,
Yeah, you can only be so upset.
right, exactly.
All right, number one for me. Not a house, not a hotel, not even a building, but it is an iconic location been used in many horror films, including Us, The Lost Boys, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space, recently seen by us on the watch along.
It was.
Talking about the iconic Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. The Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk
Lost
was
Boys.
what?
Lost
Yes,
Boys.
featured in the Lost Boys, exactly. I spent a few days there, as you can imagine, in my youth. It's just south of the Bay Area, Santa Cruz. It was founded in 1907. It is California's oldest amusement park. And yes, non-horror films shot there. There have been many, famously Sudden Impact,
Lost Boys.
Dangerous Minds. I think Lost Boys counts as a horror film.
I guess so. Yeah.
I would say so.
About vampires.
Yeah, we approached this a little differently because I was thinking locales, not locations, and I think you were thinking locations, not locales. But, I mean,
What is locale? What is the difference?
I was like set, like a backdrop for an actual scene in a movie.
I'm glad we approached it differently.
Yeah.
Though. We probably have,
I just
no
wish that you
crossover.
didn't like have it so personal about just because you were there, it's deserved of being on the list. That's all. That's
It's
all.
a fun through line.
feel like you're letting Florence
fun-
down.
I like the
Fun-
take
it's a
that both
fun
of you
gimmick.
took.
It's a fun gimmick.
My number one is a huge letdown because it's already been discussed, and it's just Cabin in the Woods because they realized that horror films had become quite tropey, so they had just threw it all out and dove straight into their new idea of a secret lab where they could
It's good.
concoct all of these.
It's brilliant.
It
Is that on
is-
your
it's
list?
very,
Florence,
very
of
good.
13 films to watch on Halloween.
No, because my criteria was ones to stream during like a Halloween party.
Oh, okay. I wanna hear that
Which are
list.
good too. I would think like a lot of like 70s movies, like schlocky movies
Right.
happen on the background, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like where you don't really have to hear the dialogue.
Doesn't make a difference.
Cabin in the Woods is a sit down and
Yeah, you
watch
gotta-
every
you gotta-
second
it's almost
because it's
assaulting to
so effing good.
Yeah. 2011 has been a minute, Brian. It seems like just yesterday. that
Do we have a
watched that.
listener list, by the way?
Yeah. Let me just dig that up. Should I watch The Changeling or Black Christmas? I'm gonna watch some schlocky horror films for the month of October. I've decided.
Watch The Changeling
Okay,
and tell me what you think.
Probably gonna watch The Changeling tonight. Oh, I see what Mitch Burns was saying when he said, "What do you think, eh? Top 5 Canadian characters." I already got my top 5. I'm ready to go. Let's do it. Brian, you in? Do
I
that
already
next
got top 5 and then bonus.
We can do that next week for Mitch Burns, who will hopefully be number 1 by then because of the power of our audience.
That's right.
Number 5 for the listeners. You ready for the
Let's
listener
hear
list?
it. What the listeners voted in our top 5? Let's hear it.
It's a tie with Derry, Maine in It,
Oh,
Chapter 1 and
the
2.
town of Derry.
And Dreamcatcher,
Good
Town
one.
of Derry.
Oh, both.
And,
Awesome.
and the ancestral commune, the Harga, and the rural Hälsingland area
from
of Sweden in
Midsommar.
Midsommar. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was on my also runs as well. Haddonfield, number 4 is Haddonfield, Illinois. 11 Halloween movies, all but Halloween H2O 20 years later, and Halloween 3 take place in Haddonfield.
It was Halloween 1 was filmed here though in Pasadena.
Thousand Oaks, I think, is the one that where the house, the famous
Probably-
house was,
probably
or maybe
many
that was,
reasons.
I don't know, one of them.
The
I
streets
read-
were Pasadena for sure.
I read Pasadena.
But they're going with like actual like backdrop of like written
Okay.
on the page, not the actual like structure. Cabin in the Woods, number 3. Many people just put Cabin in the Woods, so I assume they meant the 2011 movie, some specific Evil Dead cabin, which I didn't include. Thank you for that, Mitch. And then number 2 is the Overlook Hotel and The Shining and Dr. Sleep. Good pull there, Florence. And number 1 is the USCSS Nostromo, an alien towering vehicle model CM Bison M class. I did not see that coming at all.
the Nostrum was number 1.
Number 1, and I guess alien is horror.
It is.
It is
Yeah,
horror.
for sure.
I
Follows
think,
all
I
the
think
tropes.
it's. I always
It's
think of it as
monster movie.
sci-fi, but
No, see, no, not science fiction.
Why
No
not?
science in that movie.
there is
What science is there?
alien species living
That's
out
not
there.
science, you
And then
idiot.
it gets very science with
And can't the
Prometheus.
ship be
very
sci-fi?
science. It's all
No.
about
Just
No.
the
DNA.
existence of a space. Well, the existence of cars is science fiction. Is there science to build a car?
Clockwork Orange, science fiction.
What scientific principle is it? I guess they have
It
no
is science fiction.
Yeah.
Hey, I stuck up for you on your list.
You know,
Is
what?
that
Now
what
you
gets?
You're
stick
If
up
you
for
sat in
me.
this chair weekly,
You're
Florence,
100% right.
you would. I'm
know?
pretty sure anyone with a
Takes a
working,
big man.
functioning
Takes a big man to
psyche would turn on Brian after a limited exposure. This is a good version of Brian. You should have seen him when he was pudgy phone screener, thumbs up
right.
to Corolla,
A
Brian.
little bit of hair.
Oh my God!
4 pounds.
Wow. I remember I would just come home to. I think my poor mom had to hear about you, Mom. And there's this guy. She's like, "Son, you're 30. Please get over it." But he's
It sounds so nice.
so annoying. All right. Also honorable mentions for the listeners. 6 tied with 3 votes each for Barbarian House, Bates Motel, The House of 1,000 Corpses, 1428 Elm Street. Oh, I know that place. Evil Dead Cabin, and Buffalo Bill's Basement. Buffalo Bill's Basement.
Can I do
is
my
tied.
also rants?
Of course.
Yes, please.
Hit 'em.
Randy's House and Scream, which I think you can Airbnb, by the way.
That's out here or is that up north?
Think it's up north a little
I
bit.
think it is up north.
My
It's in
daughter looked
California,
into it.
though.
She was dying to
You're up
Airbnb it. Bates Motel, of course, and the House in Psycho. The Exorcist Stairs in Washington, D.C.
Yes, they got a
I
little
went
plaque there.
Yeah, they are
Ah.
as creepy and narrow and steep as you can. It's insane.
Nice.
Like
That's
it's the perfect staircase.
Yeah, I have written down here. Scream is filmed in Healdsburg.
Oh,
It's
okay.
my country.
Flatliners from I think it was 1990 was filmed at Loyola in Chicago.
That's science fiction.
And
That is science fiction. Thank you, Anderson.
I went to school there, and it was filmed while I went to school, and it was under construction, so you see a lot of the construction that's going on. And both Candymans for Chicago and Cabrini Green.
That's the one that came to me during this episode. Actually, I thought of it earlier in the week, but I didn't write it down, and then it came back just now, which is upsetting.
I lived 1 mile from Cabrini Green for years, and it's a perfect setting for a horror movie. Dead Silence, this location, the house with all the dolls in the case, Dawn of the Dead, which is the mall, and the Fun House in Us.
Nice.
No. I'm going to say no.
That's the boardwalk.
Yeah,
The Fun
right.
House in Us.
Exactly.
No.
It is.
I'm just saying no, though.
Okay.
Feels right to say no right now, right here.
Also ran for me the movie JFK where the president was shot. I've been there. That was a joke. Places I have been though, however, include
It's a tourist attraction. I wouldn't have been shocked if you were there.
No, I did. I drove through Dealey Plaza.
Well, then you have been there. It's not a joke. What?
That's not a horror movie.
There's a museum in the book depository.
Oh, is there? I did not know
Yeah,
that.
it's very interesting.
It's weird being there. Like it's small.
It is
and
small.
You're like,
Can I?
It's weird that we're like, they drove the president through here at like 10 miles an hour. Like, what did they think was going to happen?
different
Right,
world.
exactly.
Not
It's
that,
nutty.
Brian. They didn't think that was going to happen. Dumb question, and I've always wondered though. But like, book depository versus the library. Like, what's the difference?
Oh,
there?
it's where like the
Where you
books are
put the books?
sold and shipped from. So
bookstore?
if you're
Like a
ordering
warehouse.
it's
yeah,
like
like a warehouse. Like you're
Amazon
ordering textbooks,
few years.
they're at the book depository.
Okay. All right. People love to throw around that book depository.
That's
and it's
true.
Like,
And Grassy Knoll. Grassy Knoll is throwing a lot too.
well, I get why. I don't know what a
Florence
Grassy Knoll is.
mentioned Psycho, the house in Psychos at Universal Studios. That's on the lot. In Hannibal, I don't know if you'll allow Hannibal as an also ran, but there's a great location in Florence where he disembowels that poor guy. I've actually been there.
Jesus Christ.
Rosemary's
I'll allow it.
The singer of TSOL,
Yeah.
Jack Gershon, he had a threesome in the actual Psycho house. He jumped off the tram ride.
Really?
He and a friend and
Wow, bold.
another friend went up there and did
And
things.
Rosemary's Baby, that was set at the Dakota. It was a famous apartment building in New York. Been there.
Lennon was shot outside of the Dakota, right?
What's that?
Wasn't Lennon shot outside of the
Yes,
Dakota?
John Lennon was shot.
Where
outside.
were you on that
Many
day?
famous. What?
Where were you? I guess they got
We were
together.
visiting New York. It's in the Upper West Side, like next to the park. I just walked outside because I was like, oh shit, there's where John. They have a whole Imagine thing. Anyway, and Ghostbusters. I did not know this. I learned that Ghostbusters, the famous hotel scene where they meet Slimer, is actually shot at the Biltmore Hotel right here in downtown LA. Did not realize.
Did they get
Very
rid of
cool.
that? Is that the one they got rid of?
I don't think
The
so.
Biltmore.
The Millennium Biltmore.
They got rid of one of the big famous ones downtown. Maybe not the
maybe.
Biltmore.
Google it.
Brian,
Maybe they did.
What is science? Like anything living can be considered science, and if you're going to make some fiction out of science and make a creature that doesn't
Right.
exist, it's science fiction.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Science fiction is when you take a scientific principle.
Yeah,
and
like
make-
there's an alien out there. There could be other living organisms beyond Earth.
Right. That is more fantasy and less science.
It could be true, especially now
Yes,
that
I guess you could.
we know
Anything
that
is
there's
science. This
Everything's
table
science.
here was made out of wood.
Yeah,
But
it's real, so it's science
The milling of
nonfiction.
wood is take some.
This
science.
table is science nonfiction.
Sure.
And that I want to create a new subgenre.
What's that?
Science nonfiction. And it's just like real, like 100%.
Oh, it's just
like
scientific, like
Human Centipede would be science
That's
nonfiction.
right.
Because it's 100%
the movie at the
medically
Hadron
accurate.
Collider, but yeah, Human Centipede.
Okay. I got a bunch of also runs, but who cares? Let's. One Cut of the Dead. I'll just say that. One Cut of the Dead.
I think
And
Biltmore's still around.
Evil Dead 2.
I was going to put One Cut of the Dead,
The
but
Ambassador.
you can't
One Cut of the
describe
Dead.
it, so
Yeah, you
that's
can't
why I
really
didn't put it
describe
on it.
You
Yeah.
almost can't describe, to great effect, a Cabin in the Woods, but we did.
Yeah.
Okay, let's gamble
My
and
God.
get out of here.
What an episode.
Before we sign off, too, do you want me to give my 13 movies to
I
stream
would
on
like
the
to hear.
background?
Do you have it handy?
Yes, I
Yes,
do.
I would love to
It's
hear
no
that.
particular order. It's not a ranking. It's just 13 movies that I came up with that I thought if you're having a Halloween party, stream these in the background. Friday the 13th, Part 3. It's
Why
the
is
first
it-
one where Jason really appears as
okay.
Jason.
Because okay, well,
Yeah.
don't say
In
who-
part 2,
who Jason
he's like he
is.
has a sack on his head. It's not the hockey mask. So go to part 3. Scream, Shaun of the Dead, Nightmare on Elm Street.
These are all fun movies.
Yep. Psycho, Bride of Chucky, Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Is Bryan and Chucky the one with Jennifer Tilly?
It is.
Okay. Sorry, Killer Clowns.
Killer Clowns, yep.
Enjoyable.
Haunt, Trick or Treat.
What is Haunt?
We saw Haunt.
We saw Haunt.
Yeah, we were assigned Haunt.
You
and we
guys,
saw it a few
yeah,
weeks-
you guys were assigned it, and then I
a few
watched
months
it.
ago.
Yeah.
It's a haunted like house where like all the clowns are science
Oh
fiction.
yes, yeah. They're like in a warehouse. Like yeah.
Yeah,
So they're all
it's a
science fiction.
solid horror movie that I never would have came across without this program. So another one of the services you guys do.
There you go.
Trick or Treat,
What is
and
that? What is
that's an anthology movie.
that? Okay.
Yeah,
Trick or treat's fucking great. And the fact that you don't know trick or treat means that you shouldn't be sitting across from me, and I'm
There's
embarrassed.
a lot of
I'm
reasons I
embarrassed.
shouldn't be.
If you don't know who Sam is, and it's this time of year, I would like to thank Chris Terry for
Trick
turning
or
this on
Treat,
to
Scooby
Haunt.
Doo.
It was Chris Terry who.
Annabelle
It's
comes
Trick
home.
R. Treat.
Yeah,
The 2007.
yes.
Good to know.
Sam, he's scary.
Oh my.
Annabelle Comes Home, which is the last Annabelle. The reason why I pick Annabelle Comes Home is because a lot of stuff from the Conjuring universe is in it. So
All
it's
right.
like just a fun
A lot
watch.
of connections.
Yes. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, The Shining, and Beetlejuice.
That was quite
Those are
a
the
jump from Scooby to The Shining.
I told you, there's no ranking, there's no order. It's just a list I came
It's
up
funny because Beetlejuice I would never consider a horror movie, but it has lots of elements. You know what I mean? Especially for Halloween.
Yep.
All right. Fun.
Nice work. Look at that. Added content, value added, as my buddy Greg would say. So thank you
Trick
for
or
that.
Treat is
Trick
streaming
or
on
treat.
Max.
Trick or treat.
Trick or treat.
All right, let's gamble and get out of here. Last week on the program, hold on. Let me finish this. No, I can't do that. Oh, I hate producing. I hate it, Brian.
Oh, I remember looking at Avery's pitch for this week's gambling. I never heard of it.
It's
So
faux.
what the
We
fuck is
just had trash talked on Fanfliction earlier this week. It's from the director who brought us 4 Lions. He brought us the movie Lion. I'm sorry.
Okay,
which got a
that's
lot of
big
praise.
difference.
Yeah, 4 Lions and Lion is very, very different. He's an adept. It's Saoirse Ronan. Saoirse. I'll never say her name right. It's not because I don't care. I try. I just don't sit.
It's like Saoirse, sort of like inertia.
Saoirse.
Saoirse.
No, the obvious big release this week is The Exorcist.
That's what I'll be saying. That I could tell. All right.
I
well-
can't freaking wait till
Yes,
it comes
Alfredo, our
out.
guest. She will let her guest too.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Where the hell?
You won. Who
There's too
cares?
many. There's too many
You won.
emails.
Who cares? You won.
I care because I want to do it proper. The show's not complete.
Gambling
go.
results from the creator, Anderson guest 73, Brian guest 84. Actual score with 242 reviews. The actual Rotten Tomatoes score is 67, making Anderson the winner. Let's gamble on Exorcist.
All right, I got a number. You guys got a number?
Yes. 87.
Oh, that's not Florence. Have you listened to the pro?
I
Are
thought you
you-
were looking at me to say it.
No,
You
no.
and I are going to guess, right?
Yeah, on 3.
Yeah.
1, 2, 65.
44.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm
I
going
hope
low.
not. Yeah. What do you know about this, Brian?
I know nothing.
What
other
did
than-
Rotten Tomatoes say right before we started the show? Or actually, what did the Rotten Tomatoes say a few minutes ago when you went to the bathroom and checked your phone?
Why do I have to go to the bathroom and check my phone? I got it right here.
I don't know, but you've been kind of like present since you've been back.
That's
so.
true.
What did it say?
44.
what's it say right
I have
now?
no idea. How do we look it up?
You push refresh. I keep telling you that.
Let's just Google it. If you Google it, it'll tell you.
All right. Let's rock and roll. I'm sorry for the. This is not.
No, we
very
gotta look up the
tightly-
score, you idiot.
Yeah, I know. Do not call me an idiot. It's very hurtful. My mom listens to this. You
No.
know, Brian's mom listens to this sometimes.
Does
Exorcist.
she?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that sweet?
Exorcist
It's
believer.
not too sweet when I'm making fun of him.
I don't think there's a score yet. That's good for me.
All right.
Good for
Let's rock
me.
and roll up.
I don't believe this is a score.
All right. I'm already halfway through the song, so I'm gonna have to pick a new one.
Exorcist believer.
This is how you produce, kids.
Remember next
Very
week
loosely.
that I said 87. So when it comes by with a
80.
high score,
We're all
that-
20 off. Anderson's 60 something. I'm 40 something.
What
All
did I
right.
say? 65, right?
Something like that.
Oh, I'm
All
saying
right.
65. Okay.
The Exorcist believer has no score. No reviews.
Scores. All right, go ahead, Brian. Let's go.
Foe. Would you like to guess foe?
Brian, what'd you say?
Would you like, I said 44. Would you like to guess foe?
Sure. Remember the horrific review I got from Johnny?
That's right. He saw it at a festival. Doesn't belong here.
Right. It's Amazon drivel. Yeah, I'll guess. It sounds like critic porn to me, so I'm going to say 87.
Oh my God! I wish we
88,
would have guessed
88.
on this because there's 22.
22, so he's right.
22.
Oh, Serja.
It is
Inertia.
very bad.
How far are you falling?
Very bad. Florence, I cannot thank you enough for being here.
Of
You so
course.
much.
Thank
It's
you for
always
having
a
me.
whole lot
a
of fun.
delight to have
A
you
whole lot of fun.
in studio. Thanks for making the trip. Thanks for the great topic. I'm glad we had different interpretations of how to approach it because it made for very little crossover and a fun episode.
Agreed.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the listener. Why am I so
haven't seen it.
fat?
I have not seen it. Oh, yeah, look at that. That's nice. Florence, you make it in here sometimes. You know
I
that?
do. I've been in 2 from different listeners, and then my daughter did 1, so I've been in 3 total.
You know what? I got a problem with this. I know it's supposed to be
I like
insulting.
it. I like it quite a bit.
Puss in
Good stuff,
Boots.
right? You know what sucks with the
We were watching Puss in Boots 2 last night.
couple of my producers,
fun.
who made the press release. You know them, Catherine and Robert. They
Yes.
made the press release and helped me. You know that we all added to it. It was a collaborative thing, and then it got released this morning. And she said, "Look, what happens when you Google Keith Coogan's name and John Kapelos' name now, and it's like all like stuff about Loaded for Bear for that brief
All
moment,
right.
and like our listener art from last week of me with Atticus on my lap telling him that he has to go to the Boy Scouts." I'm like, I don't know if that's good. I don't know if Keith Coogan and Kapelos
You win
could
some,
enjoy
you
that.
lose some. Oh, thanks, Florence, for the great topic. Great to see you as always. Come back sometime soon, please.
I will.
Awesome. Thank you to Drake. Oh, thanks, Drake Durham, for the listener art. We should have mentioned that. Great job, Drake. Sorry, I said Durham, but it's Dukem. Dukem?
It's Duckham, actually. I've talked to him.
Okay, Drake Dukem. Great, fantastic. Thank you to Mark Diane,
Pretty sure.
our featured artist this week. Lots of good stuff on our Patreon, including spoiler thoughts on The Creator. So check that out, patreon.com/thefilmvault. Social networks, check us out at andersonandbryan.com. That's our website, of course. Anderson and Bryan on Instagram, Anderson and Bryan on TikTok, The Film Vault on Facebook and Twitter, The Film Vault Podcast on YouTube. Thanks to everyone who helps make the show go. I'm talking about Giovanni, Mitch Burns, Mike Cole, Eric Kath, and everyone who votes on our top 5. Appreciate you. Anything else to mention? Oh, Florence, please plug your podcast
Florence.
and
Sure.
website.
Brummer.
Bonafide Legal Podcast, and you can find everything about me at brummerlaw.com.
She really is one of the best. I mean, this is not like we talked about shtick earlier. She's like one of the best people I've ever met.
This is her real
She
life
is-
chick.
This is no lie, Florence. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but of all the people that I've met through this show,
Oh,
you are the best person that I've ever met.
Oh my
you're
God,
just a
I'm gonna
good
cry.
I'm saying,
person.
right, I'm
You're
saying right here.
Well, Brian, I mean,
I
you're
can
not.
hear everything you say.
I've talked to probably hundreds of listeners, Brian, and they all have you beat. So sorry. I'm sorry, pal. I love
This
you.
is really hurtful.
Love you. But Florence, I think, is just the most solid human being that I've met through this show. Like, and just I mean, we don't even talk about what she does for a living, but I mean, she does. We don't get into it, but I mean, she does like really important work for people in need of like her caliber. Education and expertise. She's just a solid human being, and I don't know. Still, it's kind of a mystery as to what she finds good about us.
And she likes us during the day.
It really is.
You
a
guys
mystery.
are the best. That's why. You guys are the best.
Disagree with that.
I remember
All right.
when you first came on the show, we were just assuming it was going to be some jackass guy. I was afraid it was going to be somebody who I didn't line up with at all, who was going to come on here. And Brian came in, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, I know who's coming on to guest host with us. It's a woman." And we were both. I was like, wow, "Didn't see that coming."
Right away, disarmed.
And she's a lawyer, and I'm like, "What is this? What's happening?" I was nervous. I thought it was like a setup or something.
Yeah, she's gonna serve us.
I guess,
Yeah,
like I was a fake person.
You're gonna be a process server.
Florence is just just generous and kind and genuine. She's just great. So
Always
sorry to make you
enjoyable.
uncomfortable, but
Always
that's all
enjoyable.
true.
All right, thanks, Florence, and until next time.
We do it for Van Gogh.